These are the last border changes of every European country, and I will start to say that I will not have these small border changes if there isn't any information about them at all. Like this 5 meters were taken by some country. Like for an example here, we will start in Scandinavia, where Sweden gained 500 square meters of territory from Norway near a river in Armek. This is not very interesting, so we will instead talk about the island of Märket, which is an island between Sweden and Finland. The island was split on the middle between Sweden and the Russian Empire. And the Russian Empire, they built a lighthouse on the island. However, they built it on the Swedish side of the island. This was ignored up until 1985, when it was decided that maybe the Finnish lighthouse should be in Finland. So they changed the borders to this, which looks very interesting. Then we go over to Norway, where in 1939, Norway claimed the territory of Queen Maud Land on Antarctica. Then we have Denmark, who in 2022 solved their long and bloody dispute with Canada over Hans Island in the Nares Strait. They solved the dispute by splitting the island in two. And then we have the last Nordic country, which is Iceland, who gained their independence from Denmark in 1944, when the personal union between the two countries ended. Then we go over to the British Isles, where the United Kingdom's Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced in May of 2025 that they reached a deal with Mauritius, that the island's archipelago of Diego Garcia will be given back to Mauritius, but the military base on Diego Garcia will be leased back to the UK for 99 years with a fee of £101 million given to Mauritius every year. That can also be extended 40 years after the 99 years have happened. And then we have Ireland, who in 1922, after the Irish War of Independence, where the current Irish-British borders were established, with Northern Ireland being a part of the United Kingdom. Then we continue down to Iberia, where Portugal in 1999, with the Portuguese territory of Macau, that was established all the way back in 1557, was transferred over to China and became a special Chinese administrative zone. Then we have Spain, who technically changed their border with France every year, and that's because of the island called Pheasant Island, and that is because the island is swapped between France and Spain, so Spain has it for half the year and France has it for the other half of the year. But this is from a treaty from 1659 because of the Franco-Spanish War between 1635 and 1659, so technically it's an old border that changes every year. So let's find some newer treaty changes. So in 1975, Spain left their colony of West Sahara, which then became under the administration of Morocco and Mauritania for a short time, and is still mostly controlled by Morocco to this day. Continuing over to Andorra, where in 2001 some land was given to Andorra from France so that the Envalria tunnel could be connected to the French highway N22. And then we're back to France, where we just taken up the Pheasant Island, so I will instead take up some technically newer stuff. So in 2023, France and the Netherlands fully established their 375-year-old border on Saint Martin, and in Dutch Sint Maarten, so it was fully clear where it was. Which means technically nothing changed, but it also changed at the same time. And then we have Belgium, who in 2016 swapped some land with the Netherlands on the River Maas, near the town of Lange, because of a murder. The border was straightened to go down the middle of the river instead of up on small pockets of land. And then we have Luxembourg, who in 1839, after the Belgian Revolution, lost their western part of its Grand Duchy, but it continuing being under a personal union with the Netherlands up until 1890, when King William III died. And now we're over to the Alpine and Italy, who in 2023 modified their Alpine border with Switzerland due to glaciers in the mountains melting. However, the changes are very minuscule. Then we have San Marino, who in 1463 had the communities of Fiento, Fiorento, Monte Gardino, and Servale join San Marino. Since then, the borders of San Marino have not changed. However, San Marino have been occupied by the papacy 2 times. In 1503 for 6 months and in 1739 to 1740, but their independence was restored both times. And continuing with the papacy, the Vatican City gained their independence from Italy in 1929 with the current borders that they have today. Continuing down to Malta, who gained their independence from the United Kingdom in 1964, and then Monaco, who in 2015 to 2024 reclaimed some land from the ocean that they call Les Portières by building concrete walls draining the water and filling it with sand, which was finished in 2020, and the new land was fully developed in 2024. Then we go over to Liechtenstein, who in 1699, when Hans Adam I purchased the lordship of Schlessenberg, and then later in 1712 the county of Vaduz, so that in 1719 the Holy Roman Emperor Karl VI declared Liechtenstein a principality of the Holy Roman Empire, and then in 1806 the Holy Roman Empire was dissolved by Napoleon and Liechtenstein became part of the Rhine Confederation, but that was dissolved in 1813. So in 1815 Liechtenstein joined the German Confederation, which was then ended in 1866, making Liechtenstein a fully independent country. And while I was making this video, Austria and Liechtenstein decided in 2025 to split a little lake between each other, and before it had just fully been owned by Liechtenstein. But that's not very interesting, so we will also take Austria, who in 1955, after being occupied by the 4 allied powers of USA, France, UK and the Soviet Union, became an independent state again. Continuing up Central Europe, where East and West Germany in 1990 united to form the Federal Republic of Germany. Then over to Poland, who in 1945 was moved, where all of Eastern Poland was given to the Soviet Union, which the Soviet Union took in 1939, and Poland gained Eastern Prussia, Pomerania and Silesia. And Belastok, which had been taken by the USSR in 1939 and put to the Belarusian SSR, was given back to Poland. And then in 1951, near the town of Lviv, the USSR and Poland swapped some territories. And then we have Czechoslovakia, who in 1993 split into Czechia and Slovakia. And then Hungary, which in 1947, after Paris Peace Treaty, reverted back to their old pre-World War II borders. That means giving back Transylvania to Romania, giving back Transcarpathia to the Soviet Union, returning southern Slovakia to Czechoslovakia, returning Vojvodina, the counties of Bača and Barjana, and Midjurmei and Perkmurje to Yugoslavia. That's some hard to pronounce words. And now we're at the breakup of Yugoslavia, where Slovenia declared independence in 1991 and then had a 10 days war with Yugoslavia that they won, and later were recognized in 1992. Also in 1991, Croatia declared independence and the Croatian War of Independence started. And in 1992, Yugoslavian forces withdrew from the conflict, and in 1992, Croatia was recognized. However, the war continued until 1995. Serbian militias. Also in 1991, North Macedonia declared independence and they were let go from Yugoslavia without any type of war and was recognized in 1993. Then in 1992, Bosnia and Herzegovina declared independence from Yugoslavia. However, the Bosnian war conflict continued to 1995 with no country borders changing except internal ones with the Republic of Serbia. Skipping a little bit forward in time, Yugoslavia changed names to Serbia and Montenegro in 2003, and then in 2006 Serbia and Montenegro split into Serbia and Montenegro. The de facto change of Serbia was that in 2008 Kosovo declared independence from Serbia, which was not recognized by Serbia, and Kosovo itself is not recognized by all of the UN members. 108 of the 193 UN members recognize Kosovo. And then we have the rest of the Balkans. So Albania gained back back the island of Sasan from Italy in 1945. And Greece, in the Paris Peace Treaty of 1947, gained back the Donshens, which is the islands around Rhodos. It had previously been a part of the Kingdom of Italy. And then over to Cyprus, which for the de jure part, it's 1960 when Cyprus gained their independence from the United Kingdom. And then for the de facto, it's the Turkish invasion of Cyprus that happened in 1974 after a coup d'etat in Cyprus that was supportive of the Greek military junta. The Turkish invaded the island 5 days after the coup d'etat on the 20th of July 1974 and conquered about 3% of the island before a ceasefire was declared. But it broke down in August of 1974, and so the Turks occupied another 33% of the island before a UN buffer zone was established. And then in 1983, Turkey established the unrecognized state of Northern Cyprus. Then we go back up to Bulgaria, who after the end of the Second World War was the only Axis power who did not lose any territory, but gained some instead. The territory of southern Dobroja, which had been a part of Romania up to 1940, where it had been given to Bulgaria through the Second Vienna Award, which was Nazi Germany solving territorial disputes. But after the war in 1945, southern Dobruja was kept by Bulgaria instead of given back to Romania. Then we go over to Romania, who in 1948 had the small island called Snake Island out on the Black Sea annexed by the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union also annexed some small islands on the Danube River from Romania. And then we're going up to the Baltics, where both Estonia and Latvia gained their independence from the USSR in 1991. And then Lithuania, who changed their border in 2003, where they gained 383 hectares, about 22% of the lake of Višķis, hard to pronounce lake, from the previous 2.2, which is 40 hectares of the lake. Then lastly, we have Eastern Europe. So in 1990, Transnistria declares independence from the Moldovan SSR, but it's not recognized, and the Transnistrian War starts. And then in 1990, Moldova gains their independence from the USSR, and then in 1992, the Transnistrian War ends, and the borders are frozen to their current de facto borders of Transnistria, which is recognized by no one, and the territory of Transnistria is recognized today as a part of Moldova. Then we have Belarus, who gained their independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. And then lastly, we have Ukraine and Russia, who have been in a war against each other since 2022, which means that the borders change all the time. But in September, when Russia had some control over the provinces of Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia and Kherson, they were declared as annexed after a suspicious vote, but it is not recognized internationally and is also not recognized by Ukraine. And that was the last border change of every European country. And if you like this video, maybe you like this one, and maybe you want to subscribe. Yeah.